What's going on, guys? It's me, Nick. Well, of course, obvious. You can figure that out now, can't you? Yeah. I wanna take a moment and talk to you guys about something. Right now, I want people to know, if you have a problem with your parents, your family, any family member, friends, anything, squash it now. Because one of the hardest things is losing someone you truly love. July 15th was 3 months. 3 months that my dad's been gone. He passed away on April 15th, 2016. We're still waiting to find out how he passed away. But it's been hard. It really has. People say time only heals. Yeah. It'll get easier, but it'll still be hard. You'll still have your good days and you'll have your bad days. There's a lot of times, some of the stupidest stuff reminds me of my dad. My dad loved Budweiser. My dad loved golfing. He loved NASCAR. And every time I think about that, or hear a song, or something, that makes me cry. Tears me up inside. See, the reason I'm saying this is because my dad was only 46 years old. 46. And he had a lot of medical problems. But the thing is that he kept on going. He was a fighting man. He worked his tail off day in and day out to do what he needed to do, even if he was in the worst of pain. And I need to become more like that. I really do. But that's just the difference between me and him. But I love my dad. I love him so much and I miss him. I miss him more than anything in this world. And I wish I could hug him and tell him I love him one more time. I really do. And I'm trying to keep these tears back. I really am. I'm trying to keep them back. My dad used to say, a real man don't cry. A real man doesn't cry. Well, that's a lie. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you think you're the toughest son of a gun out there, it takes a real man to cry. See, my dad turned 46 on April 6th, 2016. He had surgery on his lower back on April 7th, the day after his birthday. They went in and they moved his nerves around in his lower back and cut out a piece of his spine. My dad had scoliosis. And so the bone in his lower back was somehow pinching his bladder or something. So my dad couldn't sit down for 15 minutes and he couldn't stand up for 15 minutes. He right after the surgery, he was complaining about his left leg hurting him. So we were thinking, okay, maybe it's a blood clot. And then on April 15th, he, there were days he acted like his normal self. And then there's other days he just was not him. He was just not him. He was half asleep talking about Lord knows what. But there's one good thing that came out of all of this. And I'll tell you after I get finished. So, that morning, it was about 8 o'clock that morning, he come in my room and woke me up and said, "Hey, why aren't you at work?" Well, the thing is, I worked at night. I worked second shift. So I worked until about 10, 11 o'clock at night. So, usually about 8 o'clock, I'm at work. And he come in there that morning, said, "Hey, why aren't you at work?" I said, "Dad, it's only 8 a.m. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I looked outside and I thought it was nighttime." Well, the thing is, he slept a lot. So his nights and days were getting mixed up. He didn't know if it was night or if it was day.
She calls you, you pick up. She doesn't need any more.
And he, him being, confused and stuff, and, he barely ate anything that day. He didn't eat anything. Mom fixed him a bowl of cereal that morning. Frosted Flakes. Loved him some Frosted Flakes. It's about the only cereal that he would actually eat, cereal-wise. And then Mom asked me, she was like, "Nick, can you keep an eye on him today?" I was like, "Yes, ma'am, I can." So I had to work that night as well, so, I needed to at least get me a few hours of sleep or whatever, so, I went in there and laid down in my bed and stuff, and, he was fine. He was resting in his recliner, like always. Mom calls me about 10:24, says, "Hey, can you go in there and check on your dad?" Okay, I walk in there to the edge of the hallway, at the end of the hallway, looking into the living room, and I hear him snoring in his recliner, sleeping. And then I'm like, I tell her, and I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "Thank you." I said, "You're welcome." And then I went and we got off the phone and everything, and I went and laid back down. And I was laying there, and I was asleep. I was dead asleep. So about 11:30, my mom got home. She stopped and got my dad, what was it? Something from Chick-fil-A. And she shook him like, "Hey, honey, baby, wake up. I got you something to eat." And he started getting cold. And he started turning purple. He stopped sweating. At that time, he was still warm. But he was getting cold. So my mom screams bloody murder. Yells for me and my brother Zach to get up because my brother also works third shift. So I jump up out of bed. I run in there. She's like, "Your dad, he's not breathing. So I'm like, okay. I'm frozen there for a minute. So I get the phone and I call 911. And I'm on the phone with one of the people. And they're telling me, and I was trying to explain to him, he just had back surgery and stuff like that, and because it was like, let's see, what was it? It was like a week after, well, not even 2 weeks after, and so I'm like, okay, well then, so I hand my mom the phone to talk to him to explain everything while I run in there and go get my brother and wake him up I go in there to wake my brother up. He's dead asleep. I holler for him. He doesn't wake up. Holler for him. He doesn't wake up. So I had to violently shake him for him to wake up. He wakes up. Me and him run in there into the living room. Pick him up out of his recliner. Remind you now, he weighed a good 225 pounds, 230, almost 240. And then on top of that, a limp body. He was heavy. So me and my brother, we get him up out of the recliner, lay him on the floor. Mom starts doing CPR on him. She's going at it, you know, trying to do CPR. My dad was always afraid for me to touch him because I'm a big guy. 6 foot, 300 pounds. Well, not now. I mean, well, you know, I'm trying to lose weight. I want to get down to about at least 220, 250 if I can. I want to, and me sitting there and or standing there, my brother takes over for my mom and starts doing CPR. Then one of the firefighters, he gets there, he runs in there, you know, cuts his shirt off and then puts the defibrillator on him. He starts doing CPR on him. And while he's doing it, the defibrillator never shocks him. And then, the sheriff, Officer Petty, great guy, helped us out a lot that day. A lot of these guys were so supportive. He come in, took over for him. Well, my mom tried to take over for the firefighter. He wouldn't let her do it. It's like he pushed her away and was like, I've got this. So he worked his butt off to do it. And then the chef got there and he was doing it. And then EMTs got there and they were taking over and they put the bag on him to try to help him breathe. He wasn't breathing. He had no pulse. This is my view on this. And to tell you how devastating it is. Devastating. My dad was laying there, dead, on that floor. They worked on him for, it felt like, an hour. We were outside for 3 hours that day. Our friends, family, they came. We called them, they came to the house. They were there, being so supportive. But then, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna cut it short. You know, I gotta get my feelings out there too. You know, my mom asked my dad's brothers to call and check up on me and my brothers. And, they never did. They never called to make sure we were okay. To make sure that everything was okay with us. They pushed us aside like we didn't care. Like we didn't matter. Like we were the black sheep. And both sides of the family did that. You know, they put my grandma and my mom first, which, I mean, I understand, but it's still hard, you know, when he passed away and everybody just pushed us aside like we didn't matter, like we didn't care. My mom, she didn't push us to the side, but everybody else did. My grandma, she apologized to me and my brothers because she forgot about us going through all that. And, but, he was cremated and, we have his ashes and stuff and we're still waiting. They said it'll be anywhere between 6 months or longer to hear anything back. on his autopsy. And, you know, we want to find out. We had to give up our home because we can't afford the bills. He worked for a company called Cody USA LCC. Cody is... They make perfume, cologne, makeup, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not getting into them. He worked there for years and he made good money working there. And then, but back to what I was saying though. But before all this, before the surgery and everything, my dad has scoliosis in his spine. So his spine was like all jacked up. And also working in construction and working in the electrical field for many years, for like 30 plus years, or at least I think that's how long, I don't know. He worked there for years though, and you know, one thing he always wanted to do was go get his license. He wanted to get his license for it, but he never did. That was the one thing he wanted to do more than anything. Because all the years of experience of him knowing and doing what he knew how to do and could do. Even after he passed away, he was still getting job offers for different companies. Because of the experience and what he knew how to do. I wanted to learn more from my dad, you know, of his trade. I didn't get to learn that much from him. He taught me and my brothers how to put in a ceiling fan, which is good enough for me, but, I mean, I wanted to learn more. And, but before the surgery and everything, my dad, you know, it was months, it was about 4 or 5 months ago, my mom started going to this church, called New Covenant Fellowship, or New Fellowship Covenant, NFC. Amazing church, great people, great pastors, I mean, just amazing people, and, they did a lot to help us, but before that, you know, even my pastor, you know, our pastor, he said, I seen Steve White when he walked in here, he had his arm crossed, and I knew he was going to be a tough cookie to crack. See, my dad didn't care about going to church. He believed in God, and he believed in the devil. He didn't care about going to church, though. He read that Bible from front to back, back to front. He knew every phrase, every word. He could tell you what, if you were looking for something somewhere into that Bible, he could tell you where it was. But Dad got hurt. Dad, you know, with everything going on, Dad wasn't able to work because of he already had previously had 2 surgeries on his neck, and then he had a surgery on his shoulder. But then as he was going to the church, he started listening more, and something started touching him more, and you know, and seeing this change in my dad, and knowing the type of man my dad was growing up as a kid, was the craziest thing to see. I want to tell you how powerful having God touch your life and change your life dramatically, traumatically, and I mean, it's incredible. My dad was this mean, grumpy man. Well, okay, he wasn't always like that, but he there was times he hated the world and he hated people. And he went to this healing service at the church one Saturday, him and my mom both, and they started praying over my dad, and one of his buddies that he's worked with different companies with He put his hand on my dad's back. And as soon as he put his hand on my dad's back, my dad said he felt pure fire shoot up through his spine. Pure fire. I wasn't there that night. I was at work. And then I had to take my brother to work. So I was not there. I didn't get to see this. But there are many people that witnessed this. And then his buddy felt pure fire shoot through his hand, the palm of his hand. And as they were praying, my dad, he got lifted off his heels. So he was up on his tippy toes. And he was trying to put his heels back on the ground as much as he could. But he couldn't. He couldn't. Because the fact of it is, with what he did, God fixed his spirit. He healed him spiritually. May not have been physically, but spiritually, God healed him. Because after that, I seen a tremendous change in my dad, and I had to ask him quite a few times, "Who are you? And what have you done with my dad?" And it was a good change, though. Don't get me wrong, it was a good change. We started going to church more, and we're still going to this church because they're just amazing people. And my dad, he's just, But I want you guys to know, if you have any beef or you try to say that you hate your family, don't. You apologize if you have to. You make amends, repair, whatever you need to, and tell them you love them each and every day as many times as you need to or have to. And if your parents, kids, teens, adults, if you tell your parents you love them and they ask you, "What do you want?" So I don't want anything. I want to tell you I love you. I love you more than anything in this world, and I am happy to call you my mom and dad. And I'm happy the way y'all raised me. Alright? Alright. Well, guys, I hope a lot of people watch this video and actually listen to what I say. And let me tell you, you will want to listen. Because life is too short. You guys have a nice evening. Have a nice morning. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, have a great day, great night. God bless you.